2024. Of course, it's family and values. We are sorry for starting a little bit behind schedule due to some technical issues that we're trying to be fixed. But yes, we are here, and thank you for being our guest on Family and Values. My name is Joy Abu. You're welcome. And I have Olori here with me.
Beautiful morning to you out there, and I hope you had a wonderful night rest. My name is Serimin Olori AJ. Have a splendid time as we go on Family and Value this morning.
Okay, today we are going to be very fast, and we'll go for our mini feature, and when we return, the conversation will start with our guest in the studio. We'll see you on the other side. Successful marriage. It's important to understand that we need keys. If we must have a successful marriage in the society, as we talk about, there are ways to go about it. There are keys, there are qualities we all need to know. And today, to join in the conversation, we have Deaconess Bolanle Oba. She is an author, a marriage counselor, and one who has been married, I will emphasize on that, for over 30 decades. You can imagine, marrying for over 30 decades is no joke. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for honoring our invitation.
So and good morning, Nigerians.
Now, so I wanted to ask you, what do you think are the keys to success? But I will ask, what do you think has sustained your marriage? Now, I want you to share that with us. What are those things, those keys that sustained your marriage for this long period, over 30-something years?
30 years.
30 years.
30 years in May.
In May,
yeah.
Wow, congratulations
Thank
to you.
you.
So what are those keys that has kept your marriage going for over 30 years?
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here this morning. The first thing that has kept my marriage for this long is, with my husband, we are friends. You know, the first thing that you need to know, you know, you have to be friend with your partner. You have to like what you see. You have to discuss everything and anything. No keeping of secrets. Be open to one another. And that is what we have been doing over the years. He's my best friend. And I believe I'm his best friend too. And we discuss virtually everything and anything, no secrets. In fact, the children will tell me, Mommy, this one, don't tell Daddy. You know, because they know we tell each other everything. We don't keep secrets. Then apart from that, you know, there is open communication, healthy communication. There is a difference between communicating. The communication is very effective. We have healthy communication. He can tell me anything. Likewise, I can tell him everything. You know, he allows me to be myself. And at the same time, you know, no man is an island. You have to love the person you got married to and the people around him for you to have peace. That is one of the key of a successful marriage. No man is an island. You cannot marry your husband in isolation. You have to love him and to love his people. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Even though there are times there will be issues, but you should learn to manage that situation. Learning to manage conflict is very key. Then there is something we practice in my home. We always make sure we discuss maybe disagreements before we sleep.
Okay.
Okay, now I've heard no secrets, like what you see, love him or her. I don't want to put just him now, but that's your own. Love him or her and his people. There are also factors guiding a successful marriage. Can you just help us with this? I'm still coming back to this. But can you just help me with some of those factors that can actually help to aid a successful marriage, that journey into that successful in that marriage?
Trust is one of the factors. It's very key, because to be in a relationship, you have to trust your partner. Without absolute trust, complete trust, you know, you cannot have a successful union. You have to trust yourself. For example, your partner tells you, I'm going to the market or I'm going to work, and it's not back early. You're at peace that maybe it's traffic. There's this trust that it's just traffic or something else.
He will be back soon.
He will be back soon, or she will be back soon. But in a situation where there is no trust, you begin to think
on many things.
of many things. Then apart from that, like I said, I used to tell people this trust is the bedrock of any relationship. Bedrock is like the foundation. If there is no trust in a relationship, there is no need in taking it forward.
Okay, now when we look at people that have been married for so long, you discover that just like what you're saying, they'll tell you the person is my best friend, the person I trust, I do this. Now, and when you look at marriages of now, you see that 2 years down the line, there are crises.
Yeah.
3 years down the line, there are crises. What do you think is really responsible for generations of these days not to have long-lasting relationships or long-lasting marriages? Somebody will do flamboyant wedding. After 3 years, you're hearing separated. But here you are for 30 years. Is there something special you did or you just overlooked? Like, some people say, I'm doing it because I have the kids. Was that at that point you said, let me stay for the kids? Or because genuinely you wanted the marriage to work?
My staying is not because of the kids. I stayed because of myself.
Oh.
You know, there is something I always tell people. You must be contented. Contentment is key. I believe children of these days, they are not content. You know, and especially with the advent of social media, we see a lot of things, but you don't know, most of them are not real. So the most important thing is be real to yourself. Be sincere. We are not in the era of meals and boon. Do you understand what I'm saying? That so be contented with the situation at hand, even though you are aspiring to move to the next level. Don't be on the fast lane.
Okay.
But children of nowadays, they want it quick.
Quick.
Fast also. Okay, now I just want to ask this. When we talk about successful marriage, to know how do we now come in when it's time for us to be vulnerable? When I mean vulnerable, when we have little misunderstandings, I'm sure you have some of that. How do you say sorry? How do you come back to retrace your step when you realize? Because sometimes we do obojo, we women too, we do obojo. We try to, you know, realizing that what I've done was wrong, and I need to apologize to this man. Many have a way of doing it. Many will say if I was, many will say I will do it when I get to the bedroom. Now, Ma, how do you put this together at that point?
Thank you for that question. I would like to tell us that we need to accept that there is a fault.
Okay.
We should not pretend that everything is okay. Accept the fact that there is a problem. And when you discover that there is an issue between you and your partner, the best thing to do is to look for an appropriate time to sit down together. At times it's difficult, especially for men. The moment you tell them, I want to see you, or I want to discuss something, they are on the defensive.
Okay, now.
I always tell people too that even though marriages are different, the principles guiding marriages, they are the same. Everyone needs love. Everyone needs respect. Do you understand?
Yes.
Then, especially women, we should avoid nagging. Look for an appropriate time. Watch the mood of your partner. For example, he's just coming back from work. That is not the time to tell him, I want to see you. There's an issue. This thing, no. After he has eaten,
Relax.
even though you are angry or something is amiss, relax, you know, keep your emotions in check. Then when it's relaxed, you know, I want to see you. Then you table it on. But the moment it's coming in, I want to see you, you are aggravating it.
Oh my God.
He's not even ready to listen to you. But allow him to relax. Then you approach him. Please, there's an issue. And if it's a man too, always look for an appropriate time. And also, I want to say something. The tone, when you want to settle your differences, is very important. There's an adage in Yoruba that says, Pele, Olako, Olabo. There's a way you can tell somebody, sorry or please, that the person will still be angry with you.
Yeah.
but the tone with which you say it is very important.
Presentation.
It's okay, we'll hold you on that, man. Let's go on our word of marble, and when we return, we'll join our Zoom guest on the other side. We'll see you soon. We need to know and to really put in place for us to make our marriages work. We will be joining our Zoom guest, who is already on standby to join our conversation, in person of Dr. Abraham Owoseni. I hope I pronounced the name correctly. He's a life coach and a leadership coach, doctor, and a professional leader. Good morning, doctor. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning to everyone in the studio. I'm glad to join the conversation this morning.
Yes. We're glad to have you. Doctor, we have been discussing.
Thank you for having me.
Successful marriages, and we all know that these are very important times that we need our marriages to work. Looking at the societal breakup in marriages, so I would like to ask you, what are those keys that you think has been successful in making your marriage work? I'm asking a personal question for you.
Okay, thank you.
You have practiced.
All right, so thank you once again. So I want to appreciate the previous conversation we've had concerning this discussion. Thank you so much to our guests in the studio. So I'll just add one or two layers to it. So like you shared, that has helped me personally in my marriage as well, and generally. So I think I've been married, I think this year should mark my 7th year in marriage. And I think in my previous conversations on the Family and Values show, I've described marriage like a building, right? So every year couples celebrate their wedding anniversary. Typically, they are literally saying, oh, now we're on the 7th floor, now we're on the 15th floor, now we're on the 25th floor, now we're on the 40th floor, and that keeps going. Now, so, but then what makes it easy, what makes it successful, that they are building the home and the home is rising just like a building rises on, while constructing, which is what we are sharing today. So if I take a flashback to, my journey when I began building the home, and that marital edifice, and even till now, I could flash back a couple of thoughts, and I like to share one or two of them. So for example, number one would be that I recall when I was in courtship, my fiancé and I, we had a duration of courtship, and one of the things we did at that point was to define what does success mean to us. I think that's the first place couples should start from. Success could mean several things to other people, right? Some people could feel, well, if we can have XYZ amount of savings and investment portfolio, we are successful. Other ones say, well, if our children are doing great in school, if we become good grandparents, we have been successful. Some say, well, XYZ. So I think it's about first defining what success means to the partners and as a whole. Now, how do we know if we are failing in our responsibility? How do we know if we're actually successful? Right? So that context comes in. And I also like the perspective you brought into it, that considering the times we are in, right, there's a lot of strain. Now, how do we ensure that the marriage is not also strained? People are strained financially, people are strained emotionally. How do we ensure that the marriage is also not strained? It talks about the chicken bird, for example. There's the bile in the chicken, and they say that when you are dissecting the chicken, right, you must ensure that the bile is intact and it doesn't affect other part, else you can eat that that bird. It's the same thing in our own lives. Two people are in a marriage, they have children, they have dependents, and then they want to ensure that even if there are some challenges in some other areas, it doesn't get to the bedroom, it doesn't get into the fiber of their home. And it comes from a place of I call it understanding, right? So once success has been defined, then we get to a point of knowledge, right? So an example that comes to mind is a principle from scriptures that talks about the fact that through godly wisdom a house, a life, a family, a home is built, and by understanding it is established, and by knowledge shall the rooms be filled. So what that paints for me is that as every couple is building their home is like a building, and their home has several rooms inside. What will make us to continue to celebrate our anniversaries every year, enjoying the bliss of marriage, is the fact that, number one, there's wisdom in that home. So two people, irrespective of the fact that they are different family backgrounds, different upbringing, different exposure, different experiences, different knowledge, they came together to be the home. It means, number one, there must be wisdom. Number two, there must be understanding. And when you look at it, people, coaches, counselors, the bane of most marriage conflict comes from lack of understanding. So the husband yells at the wife because what he thought, and the wife says, "Oh, he didn't understand me." So these three keys comes to fall as part of amongst many other keys that helps in building the home. Now, let's take wisdom, for example. So if I'm going to build my home successfully, I need to know the right things to do as a man, as a husband, as a wife, and then do it. For example, when you look at the context of marriage, there are many things that come into context, right? So how do I understand my spouse's temperament? I had this conversation, just when I came in the room, the guests, when we were talking about the fact that studying the mood of your partner. How do I understand how my partner feels? How do I understand her temperament? Sometimes my wife tells me she's feeling overwhelmed, and I understand already that whenever she's feeling overwhelmed, she literally is not at the top of her performance typically, right? And then it's about finding ways to support, right? Finding ways to make the dinner, finding ways to do whatever will help, one spouse. So that's an example of wisdom, knowing the right things to do and doing it right. But then I think a bigger one for me is that place of understanding I mentioned earlier on, because that has been where most friction has come from. People, so we tell younger people preparing for marriage that if you took 4 years to get a degree, some 6 years, some 7 years, depending on the program, how do you think that 3 months, 2 months, 1 month will prepare you for a marriage of a lifetime, for example? So that also is a reflection that people are not well prepared for the marriage. People prepare for the wedding, but they are not well prepared for marriages. So it boils down to we going back to the foundations and the other social institutions that could prepare people well. So how do we get this into curriculums? How do we get this into higher education so that people are not just prepared for the world of work, they're also prepared for their homes? So beyond the pressure just saying, "Oh, when are you settling down?" Are you prepared to settle down? Because when that preparation comes, it is in that process of preparation that two people can begin to come into the similar point of understanding. I remember that I got a book. I got about 10, 15 books.
Doctor, please, we need to hold you on there. We need to hold you on there so my partner can ask her question. Hello, doctor. Can you hear us? Hello, doctor. Can you hear us?
Yes,
hello,
I can hear you.
Can you hear us? Okay, fine. Olori, you can ask.
Welcome back from the mountain. Welcome back, Dr. Osheni from the mountain. I just realized you just came back from the mountain. You are very welcome back. Thank you for that delivery. Yes, I've been screaming to get your attention, and it was like we're still on the high horse, of the mountain. So, I want to ask, you said something about trying to understand with wisdom when she is not having a good mood. Normally men to have their mood swings, so, and this is what you have to do to help with children. I know many people try to say this. I'm not saying you're lying, and I'm not saying many are doing the same. But where I'm going is this. At times we see this mood swing, and in marriage, no matter how successful it is, we see this mood swing. It's not something we quickly get into and understand just like that. It takes time, not 5 years. It takes a whole lot of time. And when I mean it takes a whole lot of time, I mean it takes time. You understand, and Dickness here also understand what I'm trying to say. But this is where I'm going. In the area of wisdom, understanding, and also to be able to assess the fact that my partner is going, knowledge, to understand that my partner is going in this direction. I need to go with it. You know, our word of Bible said something like that: you cannot change your partner. And you get to a particular point in time in that relationship, and you're like, God, how am I going to deal with it? What do you think such a partner should do? It comes, it will surface, it will definitely be there. That at that particular point in time, you're just on your own, lost, and you're like, I have tried this, I have been able to do this. What is the next thing for me to do? And you know you cannot change your partner. You understand? What do you think such a spouse should do? All in the name of success. Sometimes it may lead to very rigorous, as in something, don't let me say violence, a lot of, you know, courage to someone for you to be able to get to. What do you think such a person should do?
Okay, so thank you for that practical example, right? And I know a lot of couples go through similar cases, and you know, one of the partners is thinking, what do I do? But then most times there's always a clue. Nothing happens suddenly. There's always clues. There's always you know, that bit of, you know, foreknowledge, right? And you know, when you look at a building, for example, like the example I cited, no building collapses suddenly. There's none, right? Except a planned demolition, right? But then most times the cracks are there already. The structural defect is already showing in some elements. And when we bring that to marriage, the meaning also is that most times partners are already seeing signs of areas to strengthen, areas to, you know, bootstrap and to put a lot of more effort in. Maybe should, in case those areas were not identified when we're coming in to start building this home, and then maybe it was 3, 5, 6 years down the line, they showed up. What can you do? And like the example you gave, mood swing, which I think for me, for example, one of the things that has helped me and is helping me is that bit of humility, right? That's number one. I know for men, for example, there's a lot of ego stingy, and men, you know, I feel, oh well, I can't be the first to say sorry. But then you're not ready to build a home if you're not be the first to say sorry. Saying sorry does not mean you are wrong at the point of saying sorry. Saying sorry just means I'm committed to building this home. So most times we see couples, the way they're approaching the home is like, it's not my home. But then there's what we call owner's mentality. If there's traffic on the way, no matter how thick the traffic is, if the vehicle is yours, you won't park the vehicle on the road carelessly and say you're going to come back next day to pick it up, right? You will stay through the thin and thick of that traffic because it's your vehicle. If it wasn't yours, it was a public vehicle you bought it, you simply come out, get the next ride, and you're off. Now, but when you see your home as the owner's mentality, we own this home together, it makes it easy to resolve issues and conflict. Now, the place of knowledge comes in. So whether it's mood swing, whether it's stress, whether it's an health issue, the place of knowledge comes in. So one example that comes in for mood swing, for example, is what we call emotional intelligence. Now, most times couples have not been able to personally figure out, where is my own stressor? What makes me feel this mood swing? What makes me feel angry? Ask typical husbands. If you do a poll, not everybody understands what makes me angry. What can somebody say that will make me angry? What can somebody do to me that will make me angry? Now, but that body of work on emotional intelligence helps you understand yourself. Self-awareness, number one. You know, and it gives about 4 stages of it. And then when you understand my stressor, what triggers me to feel in any negative emotion that can affect the success of my home, I can now come to the point of, how do I regulate it? Some say, well, I take a walk away. Some say, I don't even utter any words, because when I utter words, it's going to be bad. It's going to be, massively wrong. I say wrong things at that time. And then, like they say, once you say it, you can't pick it up again. So it comes to that point of first understanding what makes me. And so if you need to get into knowledge sessions, coaching and counseling sessions, first understanding what makes me to feel the negative emotions I feel. Most times, no emotion predominantly stays for long, good or bad. So in this instance, you are feeling so excited. Next hour, you feel a couple of emotion. Next 3-4 hours, another set of emotion. However, whenever we feel a negative emotion, if that emotion continues and remains for the rest of the day, then that's where danger is. And that's where, as the knowledge of emotional intelligence helps a person to see, oh, I've been feeling indifferent about my spouse. I felt the way she spoke to me in the mornings was so bad. Now, how do I master that through? How do I help her understand that I didn't like that way? So, for example, my spouse, my wife and I, we have a principle that helps us, which is that we don't go to bed on a disagreement or an area of conflict, which means that we will definitely open up before the close of that 24 hours. As simple as that principle is, it helps us to really, open up anything that is we are trying to bottle up, and there's no bottle to put anything in the first place. So little skill set like that, emotional intelligence, interpersonal skill, financial intelligence. Most couples, for example, get strained from financial intelligence. One partner is disciplined and well good in managing finances, the other is not. But then that's the place of support. You that you are well skilled in managing finances, can you support this spouse? Because you didn't have the same exposure, you didn't have the same experiences and upbringing. This person now needs to come up. This person is in year 1, you are in year 6. This person needs to now begin to come up, but you have to do it in love. This is how to manage this. This is how to do this. There were some part of my finances that I couldn't manage well when I was, a bachelor, but it became better when I was married because my wife was better in that aspect. So that part of understanding and, support for the partner, doing it in love, not like I'm the teacher. This is how to do it. No, the way you do it then also matters. Those areas will help. So it boils down to couples finding out what is my knowledge deficit, which aspect am I not so good in that is affecting the strain of my marriage. Or it could even be children, when not done well, they could be a strain to the family. And the couple are feeling we're so stressed over when they're not doing well in school. Parenting skill and all of any skill set needed.
Thank you very much,
I know we strongly help in that regard.
We can see you're always in the mood to always deliver, saving the generation.
Hope I'm not on the mountain now.
No, you're back to Thank you very
Welcome
much,
back.
Dr.
Welcome
Brown,
back.
for being part of
Thank you so much.
And thank you for all
Thank
that
you
you
for
told
having
us
me.
this morning. We really, really appreciate our regards to the family and do have a wonderful
pleasure,
day
please.
ahead. Thank you.
Bye for
Thank
now.
I appreciate it. Bye for now. Yeah.
Deacon, I would like to bring back, because doctor said something and you had said something. He said you don't go to bed having issues in your mind. Now I would like you, because your own case is you've been in this marriage for 30 years, and I know that it's not been an easy journey. You cannot say, oh, I was smiling all through the 30 years. There were times you had disagreement that you felt like I'm leaving. And I don't think those disagreements were disagreements that you both spoke about it over the night and the next morning everybody was. There are times even when you talk about it, the next day you're still having that. How were you able to navigate that period of your marriage that felt like, did you bring in an external person? Was there a mediator, or it was just both of you working your way out of that period of marriage?
Thank you for that question. Like doctor said, anger or mood swing is not predetermined. You cannot plan ahead
At all.
that something is going to happen, that your partner is going to say something that is going to get you angry, or maybe in the area of your finances something is going to happen. It's not predetermined. So you handle each case or each situation as they come. Number one thing that we do is don't give room for assumption. Do you understand? And this boils down to communication. Communication, effective one. When there is an issue, what I do in my own case is I always look for a time to discuss it. Even though you may not be able to settle the issue amicably that particular day, but at least there is some respite. Then after some days you continue. But I've never thought of packing and leaving. It has never crossed my mind. And I've always tell people that when you are in a relationship, especially marriage, don't even bring in the D factor. I'm going, I'm leaving. So it has never crossed my mind. At times you feel overwhelmed. I don't know whether maybe my upbringing, you know, my parents, they are together till they passed on. Maybe it added. So it has never crossed my mind that this situation, though, I cannot handle it, I'm leaving. Then apart from that, I always tell people, and that is what I do, we always have our strengths and weaknesses. I have my strengths, I have my weaknesses. Likewise, my partner, my husband. So when you understand, like he said, when you understand that this man is weak in this area, and you understand that I'm weak in this area, you know, what we do in our own case is we always try to make up. Marriage is compromise. No one is perfect. My own definition of marriage is two imperfect beings coming together. No one is perfect. So you are not perfect, I'm not perfect. So when there is an issue, what we always do, and over the years, I can only remember one situation that we had to maybe talk to a third party. It has always been us. Even though there are times you will feel like talking to another person. Do you understand?
Yes.
There are times. But in this marriage of 30 years, it's only one situation that we have to step outside. But I'm not advising that for anybody, you know, because you will bottle up a lot of things. For you to relieve yourself, it's better to talk to people. So I'm not advising people to follow my footsteps because we handle issues differently.
Okay, I will just ask something very simple. So it's going to be like your final, you know, advice to our generation now, the youths. Many were like, it's easy for mommy to say now, you know, those days, things plenty for, you know, patience and all that. She has said we are not content, we are not patient. But mommy, how easy, you know, will it be with the hardship, with the economy? I'm managing with my husband. We're still in one-room apartment. They've forgotten you also started somehow.
Yes,
It's not you started
course.
with your own building. But now, if you're a landlady or landlord, it took a lot of time. So what will be your advice for those young ones who feel like it's not possible? You know, we Christians, we have this hope that Jesus Christ, if he can do it, he came in form of a man and go through it. We can also do. So what is your word to you know, our viewers and everyone watching, young ones most especially, we're still very young in marriage, your final advice to them at this point and what we have around us?
I would like to tell them the number one thing is to be open to one another. Then apart from that, there must be determination to forge ahead. Determination to do things right, to do things legally, you know. Even though you are starting, the Bible says, even though your beginning is small, your latter end shall be greater. There is always something to do to move forward. So as young people, even though your partner is starting small, the most important thing is for that partner to have determination to forge ahead. If you see this determination in him or her, then you can make the journey together. The other partner should not be lazy. Then the last thing I'm going to be saying is, know your responsibility as a wife or as a man. Know your responsibility and do your responsibility. And when there is an issue, take responsibility for your action. Don't pretend as if nothing is happening. Take responsibility for your action, know your responsibility, and do your responsibility. It's very important. As a wife, you should know your role. As a woman, as a mother, you should know your role. And as a man, you should know your role. And when your other partner is down, the other partner will lift him up.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
very much. It's so good to have you.
Thank you so much.
Thickness Oba, it's an honor and a privilege, and I want to believe that the journey doesn't come smooth. Nothing good starts smooth. You know, it takes a process, and I want to believe you want that marriage to be successful, and the only way you can do it, like what you see. You cannot change your partner after wedding, so like what you see. Encourage yourself in the Lord. You must have God in all, because He's the one that instituted marriage in marriage. So if Joy is starting a business, and I must go to Joy and ask her, please, how did you start it? Joy, have a wonderful day, viewers, and we love you. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platform, on Galaxy Television, and also on our own social media platform, Olori Adejoke and David on Facebook.
Yes, thank you so very much. This particular topic is so dear to me because when you look at the rate at which marriages are breaking, people will even ask, are there people that have been married for over 10 years? And we have someone who has been married for over 30 years. So it's important we learn, before you take that step, learn from those who have been there so that they will guide you, so that you will know and understand the keys to successful marriages, so that we don't end up having marriages that take 2 days, 3 days. We have somebody that said after a week, a guest said a marriage broke up after 1 week or so. So you can imagine that. My name is Joy Abu. Thank you so very much for the crew, the cameramen, everyone, our guy on top, our head of programs, our producer, for being with us from Monday till today, Wednesday, the midweek. As we almost round up the week, we are saying thank you very much for being part of family and values. And of course, you can follow me across all my social media platforms at Abu Joy Official, Abu Joy Abu Official. You know, that's across everyone. You see the pretty lady over there. Thank you very much. As we see you tomorrow.